Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the JDC Latin America Forum. It's a pleasure to be back. Hopefully next time we'll be in person. As we emerge from the COVID-19 pandemic, our local communities have moved back to in-person activities. For JDC, this has created an opportunity to convene leaders and build upon the work we have been doing remotely over the past couple of years. The in-person meetings have really enabled us to gain momentum. In today's forum, we will explore several gatherings which JDC has organized. These include a meeting of lay leaders from communities throughout the provinces of Argentina. They've had the chance to strengthen their networking opportunities among their communities and share best practices in terms of community development and governance. At another event, we brought together social workers from Argentina, Chile, and Uruguay. More than 50 participants from 14 Jewish social welfare organizations joined. They heard from experts on how to manage their clients beyond basic welfare activities and had the opportunity to learn from each other's experiences. The third event was the opening meeting of the 8th cohort of the Kaplan Fellows Laity Training Program. This is a program aimed at training young professionals from all over Latin America who play relevant roles in their communities. We are delighted that this program was able to resume in person and to launch a new cohort. And last, we will explore the situation in Cuba and how we continue working with the community there in the context of renewed challenges. We're recording this session, and that recording will be shared in the coming weeks by us and via the JDC cablegram. At the end of the presentations, we will of course have time for Q&A. I now invite Michaela Burstein, who is responsible for monitoring and evaluation for JDC Latin America, to introduce the first topic on our agenda. Many thanks.
Thanks, Susan, and hi everyone, and thank you for joining us for the Latin American Forum. The first topic we are going to address is a capacity building program in the provinces called Kidum, which means moving forward. And the in-person meetings we were able to convene for the first time for this group during 2022. The Kidum program aims at strengthening capacities in communities in the provinces of Argentina and contribute to their self-sustainability. The program involves the continuation of direct assistance in 14 communities outside Buenos Aires, while working at the local level with some of these communities to strengthen their capacities and thus facilitate the gradual withdrawal of this type of support. At the same time, JDC's Kidum program has established a network of lay leaders to help them address diverse challenges connected to response to vulnerability and continuity of Jewish life in those communities. We have started during the pandemic with webinars and remote workshops which focus on the assistance for emerging needs and concerns faced by the small and isolated communities. In many cases, especially in smaller ones, the Jewish population is aging and youth are inclined to move to bigger cities. In this context, the first in-person Kidum meeting was held in June and the second in September. Participants came from 9 different communities. As Susan mentioned, the goals of those meetings were to strengthen networking among the communities and share best practices, deepen and consolidate the contents previously worked on in the virtual meetings, promoting the exchange, analysis, and reflection on community management, and promoting best practices that make possible the creation of ideas and initiatives. Some of the topics addressed were leadership, social, economic, and political sustainability, and the management of collaboration and articulation between organizations that, in many cases, may result in alliances among different organizations in the same community. For example, fostering synergy between the Keilah and the local JCC, like in Santa Fe and Córdoba. We are also encouraging collaboration between communities with geographical proximity. For example, there are two communities that are 30 minutes drive from one another, but they are located in different provinces, which in the US would be different states. Now, I would like to invite you to hear from some of the participants.
Salta es una ciudad chiquita, donde tenemos una keila chiquita de 100 familias. El Joint viene apoyando desde la primera crisis, desde el 2001, viene apoyando entre 10 y 12 familias, que es un apoyo muy importante, muy importante. La keila también apoya eso, pero para nosotros fue una experiencia muy enriquecedora que ellos nos ayuden a generar proyectos y a ver las cosas desde otro punto de vista.
El Joint nos ofrece un espacio de reflexión, de planificación, donde nos obliga, en cierta forma, a repensar el propósito que tenemos como comunidad, los temas en los cuales tenemos falencias. Nos hace mirar para adelante varios metros para adelante y no estar siempre resolviendo la urgencia. Bueno, nosotros como voluntarios tenemos algo enorme que es energía y tiempo y dedicación, pero carecemos de herramientas. Yo creo que a través de los encuentros que fuimos teniendo de Kidum, todas las herramientas que nos fueron transmitiendo nos permiten volver a nuestra keila, a aplicarlas, a transmitirlas, a encarar lo que veníamos haciendo, pero con una sabiduría corregida o una sabiduría engrandecida que nos permite tomar mejores decisiones en pos de la continuidad. En esos encuentros que genera el Joint podemos encontrarnos con distintos dirigentes voluntarios y reconocer problemáticas similares en donde hay un intercambio de soluciones, intercambio de ideas, intercambio de propuestas que nos retroalimenta. Yo vuelvo con unas ganas de seguir trabajando renovadas. Eso, además de todo lo que aprendo, todo lo que comparto, me llena de energía cuando vuelvo para mi keila, luego de estos encuentros que generamos a través de Kido.
El Joint nos ayuda en lo que tiene que ver más que nada, además del apoyo económico, en la capacidad o en la posibilidad de acercarnos profesionales de mucho valor y de un altísimo profesionalismo que nuestras keilot por sí solas no estamos en condiciones ni siquiera de conocer. Yo soy de los que creen que en realidad no hay nada más que tenga mayor valor que poder dejar capacidad instalada, y la capacidad instalada son recursos humanos, y los recursos humanos hay que prepararlos y hay que formarlos, no hay otra alternativa. Lo que me gustaría como dirigente es que podamos, y que creo que nos permiten estos encuentros, es empezar a vernos como una comunidad más global y no como una comunidad en lo individual cada uno de nosotros. O sea, empezar a ver qué proyectos podemos trabajar desde la vida judía argentina. En una mucho menor escala nos están ayudando con la unión en cuanto a actividades que estamos llevando adelante junto a la keila de Paraná desde Santa Fe. Bueno, esto que lo estamos haciendo acá, a 20 kilómetros, entre Santa Fe y Paraná, poder hacerlo un poquito más global y tratar de trabajarlo entre todas las keilot que están formando parte del programa del Joint, básicamente.
We are glad that this powerful network could finally meet in person and continue working to strengthen Jewish communities in the provinces. At the same time, the first meeting of professionals and lay leaders working in social services programs of Jewish organizations in Latin America that are part of the Welfare Programs Network was held. Please, let's hear from Jessica Korenblum, Director of Welfare Programs for JDC Latin America, and some of the participants about this network, how it was built, and the in-person experience. After that, I invite Fabiana Grossman, Director of LEATIDE, the Leadership Development Department, to share about the new regional Kaplan cohort.
Desde el área de programas sociales trabajamos junto a diversas organizaciones y comunidades de la región para mejorar la calidad de vida de las familias y grupos sociales más vulnerables de la comunidad judía en toda Latinoamérica. A partir del enfoque BIPI, que implica tener en cuenta la vulnerabilidad, la inclusión y la participación, como así también generar el mayor impacto en sus redes familiares como en la comunidad, logramos una mirada más integral de las situaciones sociales locales para no solamente responder a las necesidades básicas, sino también promover la inclusión comunitaria y la participación de todos sus miembros. En el año 2020, en el contexto de la pandemia y el agravamiento de los indicadores sociales, relevamos organizaciones que brindan apoyo a la población judía más vulnerable con el propósito de conformar una red de programas sociales comunitarios de toda la región. Nos proponemos que esta red sea una plataforma para producir conocimiento social comunitario que nos ayude a mejorar nuestro trabajo y promueva el intercambio de buenas prácticas. Ya pusimos en marcha un programa de formación en modalidad remota en el que participaron en su momento más de 40 profesionales y voluntarios de 19 organizaciones de 9 países de la región. Esos encuentros remotos desembocaron luego en un primer encuentro presencial de la red CONOSUR en Buenos Aires, con participación de más de 50 profesionales y líderes de 14 organizaciones judías de Argentina, Chile y Uruguay. Fue una valiosa oportunidad para compartir experiencias que se están desarrollando en la actualidad, visitar instituciones locales, abordar los desafíos de la agenda social y continuar fortaleciendo el trabajo colaborativo para sentar bases más sólidas que consoliden esta red regional.
Actualmente acompañamos a 300 familias en situación de vulnerabilidad y pobreza a través de los distintos programas sociales y a través del otorgamiento de prestaciones mensuales. El encuentro que se realizó en Buenos Aires en julio de este año, en lo personal, fue un encuentro súper enriquecedor desde el intercambio con las compañeras, con las colegas, que permiten generar reflexiones súper interesantes de las prácticas comunes, compartidas. Creo que sería muy importante darle continuidad al fortalecimiento de la red latinoamericana de programas sociales, poder trabajar en red, en equipo, compartir las prácticas. Esto sería de gran enriquecimiento, creo que para todos los distintos departamentos de trabajo social latinoamericanos. Fortalecería muchísimo el trabajo y la forma de abordar las situaciones de pobreza, que a veces son muy complejas, y en el entendido de trabajarlo en equipo puede fortalecer muchísimo. Y a nivel de la Fundación SEDACA Uruguay, que nosotros podamos compartir nuestras prácticas y dar a conocer nuestro trabajo, también genera un gran enriquecimiento tanto para la Fundación en general como para el equipo social en particular.
Soy Lía, de la comunidad de Basavilbaso, en Entre Ríos, una comunidad con larga historia para nuestro pueblo judío. Participar para mí del encuentro que se hizo este año fue crear lazos con otras personas, ponerle cuerpo a una tarea que venimos haciendo muchas veces desde atrás de la computadora. A mí me devolvió una cuota de humanidad, por así decir, de ver tantas personas comprometidas con sus comunidades, viendo las problemáticas que habitan en cada una y buscando entre todos soluciones para seguir adelante. Me volví enriquecida a mi trabajo y energizada también. Pienso que el Joint tiene una tarea fundamental en eso, que es seguir generando estos vínculos, o sea, hacer posible que nos sigamos nutriendo unos a otros. Nuestra tarea no sea solitaria, sino que sea acompañada.
You are muted, Fabi.
Okay, sorry for that. Hi, everyone. My name is Fabi Grossman. I'm the director of Latin America. I'm responsible for training and development programs for leaders across the region. We have diverse initiatives for different audiences, lay and professional leaders. Among our programs, a relevant one is Directores Kaplan Fellows at Latin. The program is designed for young professionals from Jewish organizations in Latin America with the potential to reach senior positions in their communities. Our reach is global, integrating the Kaplan Leadership Initiative. Through this program, we seek to give concepts of Jewish organizational life, as leadership, innovation, a strategic vision, and be able to build a network of professionals for the exchange and enrichment of Jewish community life. The program extends over 20 months and combines face-to-face with virtual meetings, webinars, together with assignments to foster the learning process. During the second year of the program, takes place a week-long face-to-face global meeting, together with participants from equivalent programs from other regions of the world in which JDC has an active presence. As part of the 8th cohort of directores, we already held the first in-person regional seminar last June in Buenos Aires, Argentina. We are working now on the next one, which will be in November in Uruguay. 20 professionals working in different Jewish organizations from 6 countries across Latin America, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Guatemala, Mexico, and Uruguay are part of this new cohort. We will now have the chance to hear directly from 2 professionals their experience being part of this program.
Mi participación en el programa de directores es que entiendo que me puede aportar y me ha aportado ya en lo que hemos vivido en el primer seminario y en los webinars por varios lugares. En primer lugar, la capacitación, la formación, los docentes que nos nutren con herramientas, con estrategias, con novedades, con cómo se trabaja hoy en día. Y por el otro lado, el componente grupal, compartir con otros colegas de organizaciones parecidas y algunas distintas al quehacer que tenemos aquí en el museo, conocer distintas experiencias, distintos objetivos, distintos tamaños, pero también problemáticas similares que nos permiten como grupo generar una confianza, un intercambio y un enriquecimiento mutuo que se suma a estas herramientas que nos brinda el programa, conocimientos que nos pueden ayudar a ser mejores en nuestra tarea, básicamente, a ser mejores directores, a llevar adelante mejor los equipos, a liderar de alguna manera, de una mejor forma y sobre todo a proyectar hacia el futuro de otra manera.
Yo vengo de un mundo, estudié management y trabajé durante muchos años en el rubro de las empresas, y cuando nace mi hijo quise buscar una forma de retribuir y también de cómo ser un mejor ejemplo laboralmente como mamá para él. Y ahí tuve la oportunidad, primero como directora de comunicaciones, de participar en la comunidad, y ahora como directora ejecutiva en este equipo que estoy liderando. Porque si bien yo tengo muchas herramientas desde el punto de vista empresarial y de management, este programa me permite a mí aprender todo el mundo y todo el networking comunitario, que somos un grupo diverso, con distintas líneas religiosas, con distintas experiencias, distintos países, lo que creo que enriquece nuestras reuniones y también cada vez que nos juntamos porque tenemos distintos puntos de vista. Dicen que la dirección ejecutiva es un cargo muy solitario y una de las grandes cosas que tiene este programa es que nos permite compartir buenas prácticas para poder hablar de nuestros día a día, para poder ir creciendo y nutriendo y finalmente para poder ser mejores líderes para nuestro equipo y poder generar así instituciones más fortalecidas y que nos permitan lo que todos buscamos, que es la continuidad desde cada uno de nuestros puntos de vista.
Hello, hi everyone. For those who don't know me, I am Sergio Weider, JDC's Regional Director for Latin America. I'm so glad that we are having this forum and that we've been able to present so many things that we've been able to do in the last few months. As Susan said, as we leave the pandemic behind and are able to get together and even go beyond what we've been building during these couple of years of the pandemic on remote mode and moving forward and taking advantage and synergizing with all this enthusiasm that we've seen in the voices of the participants. I think I'd like to stress what we've heard from Karen just recently on the video about the Kaplan cohort, which is the stress she did her emphasis on the diversity and pluralism, because what is very relevant in this case or in the case or other cases that we've seen before, what is very, very relevant and very JDC oriented is that we bring together people from different denominations, different ideas, diverse groups from the Jewish communities to see that there is a common interest, which is build better and stronger communities. So far, I'd like to open the floor if you have any questions or comments about these three big meetings that we held, the Kaplan, the meeting of communities in provinces of Argentina, and the social workers. Yes, Stephen.
Yeah, could you give us just a very quick breakdown? I'd be interested to know a little bit more about Salta, Cordoba, and Santa Fe. I know Mariela said that Salta, there's about 100 Jewish families. So what very quickly, I don't need the detail, but what do each of these Jewish communities look like?
Well, these are communities that are somehow different from one another, because Mariela mentioned there are like 100 families in Salta. Salta is in the northwest of Argentina. And in Cordoba, you have close to 8,000 to 9,000 Jews. So while Cordoba sees itself as a small community because they compare themselves to Buenos Aires, we always remind them that they have probably 3 times the numbers of Jews that there are in Peru, or twice the numbers there are in Colombia. So this idea of big or small communities is really relative. In the case of Santa Fe, and when prior to the pandemic, we had the chance to host a study visit from the Latin America Committee in Argentina, and we were able to travel for the day, to make a day trip to Santa Fe. And there are like 1,200 to 1,500 Jews. So the sizes are different, can divert. But the challenges they face are very similar in terms of welfare needs, maybe in a smaller scale, in the number of families that need assistance, but again, it's the same type of challenge. the same type of idea of how to address the needs of these families beyond basic needs, what Jessica mentioned about what we call the VIP plus I model, which is the vulnerability, inclusion and participation, and the final I can be impact, can be, I mean, we said that there are investment. We said that this final E that follows the VIP has many different ideas to be connected to. And it is the challenge is to see how these families or these vulnerable families get integrated into the community beyond receiving basic welfare. And that's one of the main challenges we have. At the same time, and this connects to the video that we showed about Kidum, the needs of the leaders to have more professional processes in how to deal with their own communities.
Sergio,
I don't have
see a
everyone on the
question
same screen, so if there are more questions, please speak.
Yeah, I see one that I could answer in the chat if you allow me.
I can always say it out loud if needed. But it's in the chat.
Yeah, Heather is asking about the Kaplan cohorts. When did they start? How many people are typically in it? How does it last? How often do they meet? And how long does the program last? The program lasts 20 months, yeah, almost 2 years. In our region, we are now with the second cohort within the Kaplan Leadership Initiative, but we have 5 previous cohorts of the program of directores. Now we are part of this framework that makes the program a global one, together, as I mentioned before, with the 2 other regions, with the FSU and Europe. But this is our 8th cohort of directores, the second within the Kaplan framework. And in the last cohort, we had 13 people, and now we have 20. We have a very demanding recruiting and selection program to participate. We want to have in every cohort diversity in every sense. I mean, different kind of organizations represented, different countries, different backgrounds of the professionals, different challenges to make the program and the cross-learning very rich. I think that's all you have, Heather.
And how many times do they meet typically?
During the program, we meet 4 times face-to-face, presentially, and we have every month or every other month a webinar and an assignment they have to comply with by themselves or in small groups. And during the second year of the program, we also have a coaching. It's like a sub-program, a program within the program that is an individual process for each participant to develop their specific development needs for transferring them to his or her organization.
I see there are two questions, one on the chat, and also Lori is raising her hand. So if I can answer the one in the chat, which is pretty straightforward, and then Lori, go to you. The question from Maxine Morris is whether there is claims conference funding that comes to Latin America for survivors. Yes, there is. In the case of Argentina, this funding is channeled through the Tzedaka Foundation. It's a local organization, major Jewish welfare organization that was founded, among others, by JDC with prominent local lay leaders, and it's one of our main partners. It has been one of our greatest partners here mostly in Buenos Aires, and little by little growingly in the rest of the country. Lori?
Yeah, I was just wondering about the relationship between the national Kaplan programs and what's going on in Latin America. And I guess it could be a similar question with SEDACA or the other organizations that we're partnering with. I just wonder, are the programs that are being implemented in Latin America the same programs that are being implemented throughout the year, you know, vis-a-vis material, but also vis-a-vis, you know, how often people are meeting and all of the just little details. I'm just curious how they sort of work together or independently.
Well, in terms of the Kaplan program, I think that Fabi can answer to that. So I invite you, Fabi, to jump into the conversation.
Yeah, thank you, Lori, for your question. We include in every seminar, for instance, visits to different organizations. And also we include the presentation of different programs. So the participants are like very acquainted with what we do. In fact, during the first seminar, different people from our team attended and presented what they do. So, and we also included a presentation about the region and the situation and which are the programs that are taking place. So they also can refer to the leaders of each organization and to be in touch. And we also, it's our role is very important, working together to help them be in touch with those who could learn from each other and articulate them in different activities. I think is this what you meant regarding Kaplan?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And if I may add one more thing, one of the more relevant things is that we know that we have a network of Jewish professionals that have been trained by JDC that are across Latin America. And today, one of the outcomes, while has not been started by JDC, but clearly has been triggered by JDC, by the experience with JDC, is a group, a network of Jewish professionals from all over Latin America that are getting together on a WhatsApp chat that has, like, Fabi, you can correct me, but it's over 200 people who are on the same group exchanging experiences, and we are supporting them in doing some ongoing training. And the fact that we can, I mean, the use of remote tools makes it much, much easier and much more dynamic.
It's interesting. We like to call it like a spin-off of the directores, this network, because they are working very, very actively, and well, being the sponsors and even partners with them with different activities they are holding is terrific. It's an outcome that we value very, very highly.
I mean, congratulations. That's what I think JDC is really supposed to do, right? Is to plant the seeds and then have other communities, individual communities, build them and grow them on their own. So that's really commendable.
Thank you.
Jane, you are asking about the percentage of JDC's Latin America budget for welfare, and the rest is approximately 72–73% for welfare.
I guess I asked that question because I noticed that the budget for Latin America in general is very small from the joint compared to some of the other budgets. And I wonder if that has to do with the number of people that are being receiving welfare, or what that is.
Well, because number one, in the case of Argentina, let me remind all of us that after the collapse of Argentina at the beginning of the 21st century, and JDC's, I would call it an epic intervention that rescued the community has been able to to mostly and especially in Buenos Aires, where 85 of the Jewish Argentinian population live, to be self-sustainable in terms of welfare needs. We continued our support for communities in provinces. And that's why we do these parallel programs in terms of welfare and renewal and leadership training. We've resumed direct assistance in Buenos Aires at the outbreak of the pandemic, and we've been gradually phasing out, scaling down, and eventually the idea is to phase out and let the local community be able to manage their own welfare with their own resources. And that's for the case of Argentina, which is the bigger community and where we have the majority of there are more clients. In the two other big places communities we work in terms of welfare are mostly Venezuela and Cuba. The rest of the communities in Latin America have been so far capable to cover their welfare needs with their own resources. There has been something in Uruguay when as an echo of Argentina's crisis of 2002, but today they have strong welfare organizations with whom we work and with whom we partner, but not with resources for direct assistance programs.
Great, perfect answer.
Thank you. So we still have a few more minutes if there are more questions or comments. And if there aren't, we'll be happy to meet in person in December in New York.
Yes, we're looking forward to that. So I just wanted to thank everybody for joining us today. As always, I wanted to thank Sergio and our team for all of their work and their efforts and their dedication. And we hope that you have found the program to be informative. If there are particular topics that anybody would like us to address in December, please let us know. And to the extent we can incorporate them, we are happy to do so. And with that, I think I'll say thank you again, and I will turn it over to Sergio to close.
Thank you, Susan. You could have said it better than I couldn't have said it better than you. So thank you very much. Thanks everyone for your interest and for your permanent support. And of course, thanks to the team, to our terrific team, JDC Latin America team. They are here joining the session, and I think that much of our success relies on what they do.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.